Yo. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Happy Sunday. Sorry about being shortly late, being a little bit late. I was looking for my phone. I had no idea where it was. I had to rip everything up trying to find it, and I eventually did. So, there we go. Here we are. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. My camera's a little bit off. No, I think it's fine now. All right. I don't know why the fuck the music is still playing. I can't figure out how to turn it off. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, what's going on, everyone? What's going on? Hopefully everyone has a good day today. Happy Sunday. I think my camera's off slightly. Hope everyone's having a good one. Let's lock in. Justin, thank you for the super chat. Half PPR, Strange or Craft? London neighbors are white. Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate the super chat. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. I'm just pulling up my rankings because I'm going to have to adjust them slightly. All right. And I did read something on Twitter that I want to bring up too. Just real quick, can I answer that question? Where is that? There's something about Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet. Okay, so I'm going to just answer your question while I look for it. London neighbors are white. I think I'm going to go London. I know it's his first game with the new quarterback, so that doesn't necessarily mean that London is going to smash, but I do believe that because Penix is under center, the team is going to now try to force feed the ball a lot more to Drake London, because Drake London at points this season kind of felt like an outcast. So I do believe that he is going to be seeing a lot more volume and better targets probably, because I mean, Kirk Cousins was throwing the ball directly to the defense. Kirk Cousins couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So I do think that London is the smart play there. And then for the next question, it would be Strange or Craft. I love Strange. Pause. I also like Craft. I have Strange 9, Craft 10. Basically a toss-up, right? Essentially a complete and utter toss-up. If you prefer Craft over Strange, I wouldn't judge you. I mean, I do have them ranked back-to-back. Michael Jordan, 96, 97. So I would go ahead and go Strange, and then I would go with London. Yoda, thank you for the super chat. MHJ, Dowdle, or Devonta, full PPR, and why? Great question. Dowdle, Devonta, or MHJ? MHJ would not even be kind of a part of the question, in my opinion. Why is that? Because he just really isn't that trustworthy at all. He has been largely trash for majority of the season, and even though I still believe that he is a talented player, I just wouldn't even consider him in this scenario. Now, in my home league, I do have to play him in my playoffs, and I'm hoping he plays good, but I wouldn't bang the drum for him and tell you guys that he's a must start. He's not. For me, the answer is Dowdle. Dowdle's the top 12 running back in my rankings. I like the spot up against Tampa Bay. I like that Rico has ran for over 100 yards in 3 straight games, and it's over 110 in 3 straight. Last week, he had 149 rushing yards. He has been playing incredibly well. I understand that the Dallas Cowboys aren't the best team. I understand that the Dallas Cowboys are not a great offense, but when push comes to shove, this Dowdle guy continues to put in work. I talked him up in the, oh shit, that was actually closed out of the stream. No, I didn't. Okay. I just accidentally moved it. I talked him up a bunch in the offseason. I do end up thinking, though, that Dallas is going to end up drafting someone else, so we probably won't even get Rico Dowdle true season, right? Season number 2. But for me, it's going to be Dowdle up against the Bucs. I like that spot for him, and I think he's going to have a big game. Devonta Smith is fine, but he's kind of more of like the safety net, like, oh, he's going to be like wide receiver 24, 25, 26. I'd rather just go with Dowdle for more upside. Sloth, thank you for the super chat. Big Dog, 2 questions. Strange or Hawkinson, and flex Garrett Wilson or Patrick Taylor? Great question. Strange versus Hawkinson. I would go Hawkinson. I don't think there's anything wrong with Strange. Like, I like Strange. I've already told people to play him. So I wouldn't take this as me hating on him or anything. So I wouldn't say that this is me like hating on him or anything, but I do think Hawkinson just feels safer. Like there's inherently more safety when it comes to Hawkinson compared to Strange, because Strange could just as easily go out there and, you know, have, instead of a gazillion targets like last week, he gets 4 or 5, right? Whereas Hawkinson's kind of baked into the offense. I know Hawkinson's been up and down, so I'm not going to pretend like I always say this, like I'm not going to pretend like something's happening that it's not, right? Like I'm making up like a fake world, right? A fake world around how Hawkinson has played. He hasn't been amazing, but I would go Hawkinson over Strange. And then Garrett Wilson or Patrick Taylor. I really like Patrick Taylor this week. The Dolphins defense is so incredibly shit up against the run. But the problem is, I don't know, like the 49ers offense just looked so egregiously bad last week. And it's entirely possible that they look that bad again. Whereas Garrett Wilson kind of feels safe with a lot of upside as well. Garrett Wilson has had some real high highs at points this season, right? He's had huge games, he's had low lows, but I do feel like he's kind of baked into 7, 8, 9, 10 targets. Feel like he's going to be able to get like 80 plus yards. So if he gets in the end zone, you're going to be real happy. If he doesn't, you're going to be fine. And I think I'd rather just go with that over Patrick Taylor. Even though I think Patrick Taylor's a fine start this week, I would just leave with Garrett Wilson. So I'm going to go with Hawkinson and Garrett Wilson. 44 MSU, Malik Washington or Debo, half PPR is my wide receiver 3. This might sound absolutely fucking insane, but I would rather play Malik Washington. No Tua Tagovailoa. No Jalen Waddle means that Malik Washington is going to be the number 2 receiver on the team. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to get like 8, 9 targets, something crazy like that. I wouldn't really project that, but he did lead the team in terms of receiving last week. And that was in a matchup that wasn't necessarily the best on paper. And obviously Tua and the rest of the team kind of shit the bed. So I do think that this week, the smart move would be to play Malik Washington over Debo Samuel, half PPR, as your wide receiver 3. One of these days, Debo's going to have a good game, right? Maybe not this season because the season's almost over, but it shouldn't shock anyone. Like if Debo goes out there and has a good game. But the problem is Debo has just sucked gigundo wee over the last, what feels like 10 games in a row. Like he just hasn't put up numbers. So really, what's the point in playing him, right? You kind of know what you're going to get. You kind of know he's probably not going to have a big enough game for you to be happy. And you know his floor is incredibly low. The floor is very low with Debo. I get Malik Washington isn't on the skill set level of Debo, but I would go with Malik, in my opinion. Zach Dabney, thank you for the super chat. Tua or Penix, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, PPR. Jennings, Reed, Jamo, Ridley. For me, I don't like Penix as much as other people might. Now, that's not me hating on Penix. That's not me saying that Penix is dog shit, this, that, and the other thing. He does have rushing upside, but it's his first NFL start in not the best matchup ever. So that kind of just leads me. I guess the Giants matchup is good. Let's be honest. I kind of shit on the matchup. It's a good matchup. Let's be honest. But I do think that there's a lot of risk with Penix. Like I could see Penix just as easily scoring 25 points as I could see him scoring 6 points, right? Whereas Tua, you're kind of going to get that basis of production that he kind of always has. Like I know last week he played terribly up against the Texans. He threw 3 interceptions. That's not really Tua's thing, though, because prior to last week, he didn't throw an interception in week 14, 13, 12, or 11. And then he threw 1 in week 10, and then he didn't have 1 in the other 2 games before that. So I would go with Tua. In my opinion, Zach, if you're looking at your team and you're feeling like you're going to lose, right? If you're looking at your matchup and you're like, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm about to get shafted. Kind of feel like I might lose. If you feel like you might lose, if you don't want like that safe that safety of Tua, then you can go Penix. But personally, I'd go Tua. And then one wide receiver, one flex. I would go Jennings and Ridley. I love Calvin Ridley this week. I loved him last week. I probably love him every week. The upside is always there for him. The question is, can he actually take a stranglehold of it and play well, right? And the reason why that's such a large question is because he really hasn't played well, right? You know the targets are going to be there. You know they're going to be fine targets coming from Mason Rudolph, but Cal Ridley himself just hasn't really dialed in. He hasn't played his best, and that does, in my opinion, really throw a big wrench into things. It really does make me almost second guess myself when it comes to Ridley, and that scares me. But at the end of the day here, I think the smart move is playing Ridley because of the matchup, because of the upside. And then in terms of Jennings, I know Jennings did not play well last week, but I do think Jennings will be able to bounce back. So I'm going to go Jennings this week. So we're going to go Jennings, and we're going to go Ridley, and then we're going to go Tua. Tua, turn the ball over. Sarah Garcia, thank you for the super chat. Garrett Wilson or Malik Neighbors? For me, that one would be Malik Neighbors. Now, the thing about Malik Neighbors is he just gets so many targets, right? It wouldn't surprise me if he ended a game and had 20 targets. Now, obviously, having 20 targets would be crazy, but you get the point, right? It doesn't surprise me at all when he leaves a game and he has 13 targets, right? That should not surprise anyone. They're a team that really doesn't have a lot of talent on the offense. So Malik Neighbors inherently is by clearly the best player on the offense, so he's going to get fed the rock. And with that said, while getting all of those targets hasn't necessarily led to the biggest of seasons, I do believe that brighter days are ahead for Malik Neighbors. And again, maybe it's one of those scenarios where maybe it's not this year, right? Maybe he doesn't finish the strongest. But when you're getting that many targets, you're going to be a high-end wide receiver 2 in my rankings. That's where he is this week. Garrett Wilson's a little bit lower down the wide receiver 2 totem pole. Still a fine play. Not a bad play by any means, but I definitely would prefer Neighbors. Addison or Shakir is my wide receiver 3. This question's very simple in my opinion, and it's kind of a risk question, right? Do you want to take the risk or do you want to play it safe, right? Shakir, very safe. Shakir is going to get 7+ targets every single game. Shakir is going to be very, very safe because of it. But Jordan Addison is kind of the opposite, right? You're not guaranteed 8 targets, 10 targets, right? You're not guaranteed that. But what you could get is a couple of balls thrown his way that he ends up taking directly to the end zone, right? Those big plays that Addison provides. So what I would do is probably my rankings say Addison, right? So based on my rankings, I would go Addison. I have Addison 26, Shakir 27. So it's kind of up to you. And again, it's really based on, do you want your safety or do you want the upside? Personally, based on my rankings, I'd go Addison. Again, I play a fantasy a little bit more risky than other people, so I would go Addison. How do we pay for messages? You can super chat. You don't have to super chat, though. I try to answer as many questions as possible, even if you don't super chat. Swift or Kendre Miller, PPR running back 2. Oh, man. Swift has been such a disaster recently, but I don't think Kendre Miller is necessarily like this must-start guy up against Green Bay. I would lean with Swift. I know last time up against Detroit, Swift didn't play good, but this is a Detroit team that is beaten and battered. The defense is beaten and battered. I don't like either option. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I love either of these guys, but I do think I think they're both going to be fine, but I'd personally lean with DeAndre Swift just because, again, he has had some really bright spots this season. And this is a game that could end up being very high scoring, right? While Detroit defensively isn't the best, their offense is a wagon. They can push this to being a very high scoring game if Chicago can keep up. And if Chicago is able to keep up, this could be a game with a shitload of points. So I would go with Swift for that reason. Plus, it's a revenge game for Mr. Swift. A little bit of revenge game going up against Detroit. Justin, thank you for the super chat. Half PPR, Njoku or Strange, Darnold or A Rich. Thank you, Goat. No problem. You just reminded me that I have to move Njoku up my rankings because I didn't think he was going to play, but he is. I have Njoku ranked as my tight end 12. I have Strange at 9. It's all about the quarterback, in my opinion. I don't really trust Mac Jones, but I know Mac Jones is going to target Strange heavily. I don't know if DTR is going to force the ball to Njoku. So I would go Strange. And then Darnold or A Rich. I'm going Darnold. I think Anthony Richardson could go out there and blow up. I think he could have a huge game, but I also think he could blow up in the other way, right? And blow your team up from the inside, completely fuck you over, completely derail what could be a great game for your fantasy team. So personally, I would have to go with Darnold. I know that there's a weather factor in that game, NFL weather. It's going to rain. And that's kind of one of the biggest issues in fantasy is you never really know how much the weather is going to actually affect the game. Sometimes it's pouring and you honestly, the game just looks the exact same. Sometimes it's pouring and it completely ruins the game. So it kind of just depends from game to game. There's only 7-mile-an-hour winds. So I wouldn't worry too much about the wind. New rainfall amounts for the 10th and a quarter of an inch. That's not that crazy. It's probably going to rain for the whole game. If you're really worried about the rain, go Anthony Richardson. I'm not going to worry that much. I'm going Darnold. So we're going to go Darnold and Strange. Sup, Nick? 12-team half PPR. What's up, Aishan? How you doing, man? Pick 2, Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson, or Adam Thielen. I would go Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith. I'm not jumping off the Adam Thielen bandwagon because he had a bad game. I'm not going to do that, but I do feel very safe with Devontae Smith. And I also feel very safe with Garrett Wilson. I don't know why. I forgot how to read for a second right there. Yeah. For Garrett Wilson and for Devontae Smith. So that's the way that I would go. I think Thielen's a fine play. I think that Jets-Rams game could be very high scoring and could be able to get Garrett Wilson to have like a top 10 game. Again, I don't have him ranked there, but I do think that's possible. I think it's probably more likely that Garrett Wilson's a top 10 receiver compared to Adam Thielen. And Devontae Smith's kind of just that super safe wide receiver that you have. Now, again, you don't always need the most safe guy in your lineup, but I do have him ranked inside the top 24, and I do think he's going to end up having a pretty good game. So that's the way that I would be leaning. I would be leaning with Garrett Wilson and with Devontae Smith. Best of luck this week, I shine. C-Dog, my man. Thank you for the super chat. Pick 2, Terry, DK, Jennings, full PPR. I'm going to go Jennings and Terry. I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I am incredibly worried about the game that Terry McLaurin is about to have. Last time he played up against the Eagles, he got strapped. They could not get him the ball at all. He was locked down. But after that, he's ripped off so many great games in a row that it's like, at the same time, while he hasn't been successful, something's bound to change. Something's bound to get better. So I think I would probably still play Terry, even if it might not feel right? Even if it might feel a little bit gross to do, I think that's the smart thing to do. So we're going to go Terry. And we're going to go Jennings. DK has a wet dream matchup, but DK has been so shit. I'm just not doing it. Terry, for me, it's going to be Terry and Jennings. Hook and Reel, thank you for the super chat. 2 running backs, 2 flexes, 2 wide receivers, half PPR. Goff, Jamar, Puka, Achane, Patrick, Taylor, Ridley, Reed, Tyron, Tracy, Kendre Miller, and Downs. What is the move? So you're obviously going to play Jamar Chase. You already knew that. You're obviously going to play Puka. So Chase, Puka, lock him in. Then at running back, you have to play Achane, so you lock him in. Then it becomes a question of Patrick Taylor versus Tracy versus Miller. And for me, I would go with the upside of Patrick Taylor. I said this yesterday, and I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend like I know every single thing about Patrick Taylor. But what I do know is that the 49ers are a running back fucking factory, right? Patrick Taylor scores last week. Guys go down, new guy comes in, and it's almost like nothing ever happened, right? Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's incredibly talented, and this isn't like a dig on McCaffrey, but the team puts up numbers at running back, whether it is the running back that we thought it would be or some random running back you've never heard of. They put up big numbers. The Dolphins defense sucks against the run, so he's kind of a no-brainer. So Chase, Puka, Achane, and Patrick Taylor are locks. Then we need 2 flexes. And with 2 flexes, I would go Calvin Ridley and I would go Tyron Tracy. Why? Because you're getting a mix of upside and safety. I think Tyron Tracy is pretty safe. I don't think Tyron Tracy is going to explode this week. I don't think he's going to have the biggest game ever. But I do think that he's going to put up a respectable enough of a game to be fine. And that means that your lineup's going to be fine with him in it. It's not going to be a huge game, I doubt, but the upside is there due to his talent. So he would be in. And then Ridley is the complete and utter upside play. Ridley could end up screwing the pooch. Ridley could end up having a huge game. And based on the other guys you have, I just feel most confident in him. So I would go with Chase and Puka at wide receiver. At running back, it's going to be Achane and Patrick Taylor. And at flex, it's going to be Tyron Tracy. And it is going to be Calvin Ridley. I typed in the chat for you. Aaron, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Love or Goff, Henry or Njoku, Thomas Jr. or Shakir. Love or Goff? I would go. That's a good question. Henry or Njoku? I would go Njoku. Thomas Jr. or Shakir? I would go Thomas Jr. Love versus Goff is the closest question there, in my opinion. I got Love 9, Goff 10. Personally, I'd lean Love ever so slightly. I have both ranked very high. I think if you're talking about safety, Goff is probably a little bit safer, in my opinion. But I would go Love. So Love, Njoku. I don't really trust DTR, so I am definitely scared of Njoku this week. Like, I'm not going to say that Njoku is like this super safe bet, but I'm going to go with Njoku. We're going to go Love over Goff, and then BTJ is ranked significantly higher than Shakir, so BTJ. I shine full 10-team PPR. Kincaid or Strange? I'm going Strange. I like Kincaid. I might even say that I love Kincaid. I think Kincaid is a very talented tight end, but he just hasn't put up the numbers this year. Let's be honest. He hasn't been good this year. And while I do believe that the upside's in there, while I do believe that he could have a very big game, what is making me want to actually bang the drum for him, right? What is going to make me actually feel confident in him based on what we've seen this season? And the answer is nothing makes me very confident in him. Now, Strange, I get it. Brenton Strange, you've probably never fucking heard of the guy. Most people probably haven't. I didn't know too much about him until he started playing. And I'm going to be honest, like, is he this super safe player? No, but I do feel more confident in him than I feel in Kincaid, which just kind of goes to show how shit Kincaid has been this season. So with all that said, I'm going with Strange. Strange has the upside to get a boatload of targets, and it seems like Mac Jones really likes him. Next question here from Ali. Kahadra, thank you for the super chat. Walker, Tracy, Patrick Taylor. Okay, that's what I wanted to look up. It was Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to pull it up now. Love how Garofalo just casually drops the news that Zach Charbonnet is a team captain and will be announced as the starter today. So that's a little weird. That is a little weird. That really throws a wrench into my personal ranking of Kenneth Walker. Now that he is not the starter, guaranteed. He's not the starter. They took him off being the starter. That scares me. But I will also add that doesn't guarantee that Charbonnet actually sees an insane amount of touches, right? He's named the starter, but I'm not going to guarantee that actually means that Charbonnet out-touches Kenneth Walker. But it does really scare me. I'm going to be honest. I am very, 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 very scared of Kenneth Walker today. Now, when we're looking at the guys you have, I would play Walker and Patrick Taylor. Because even if he's not the starter, I would believe it's enough of a split to where Walker would be able to outscore Tracy. So, so I am a little bit more scared about Walker than I normally would. I would be lying if I said I was ecstatic to start Walker, but it's going to be Patrick Taylor and it's going to be Walker. And then at tight end, Kraft or Henry, I'm going to go with Kraft. I like Henry. I think he's a good player, but I feel a lot more confident with Kraft. So that's the way that we'll be leaning. We're going to go Tucker, Kraft, mac and cheese. We're going to go with Walker, and we're going to go with Patrick Taylor. I shine, 8-man, Superflex, full PPR, Jawan Jennings or McLaurin. See, this is another real risk tolerance question. I think they're both pretty risky. I got Jawan Jennings 22, McLaurin 21. I do believe this week Jennings would be safer than McLaurin because, again, we just watched McLaurin get fucking strapped down by this team a couple of weeks ago. But that doesn't mean that McLaurin can't have a good game, right? Just because there's a 1-game sample size of him getting strapped down by them doesn't mean that it's going to guarantee to happen again. But I will note that Quinyon Mitchell has been locking up a lot of guys. Like, it's not just, he locked up Terry McLaurin one time, let's fucking suck the guy off, right? No, he has locked down multiple receivers, great receivers over a pretty long stretch. So the safe answer is Jennings, but I would go McLaurin. Anonymous, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Question is half PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. Spears, Miller, Dobbs, Downs, Mooney. Hate Miller versus Green Bay. I like Spears even with Pollard. Mooney is uncertain. Dobbs has competition and Jacobs. Don't trust Downs with AR, but he's probably the safest help. That's a great breakdown. That's a great breakdown right there. So for me, it's tough. It's tough because I do think Darnell Mooney could go ballistic. He could go bananas. I think that. But I also think that the quarterback change could be very negative for Mooney. And what I mean by that is it seemed like Kirk Cousins really, 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 really liked Mooney. But I don't know if Penix likes him like that, right? If he's going to get force-fed the rock. And with that said, that does make me a little bit cautious when it comes to fully banging the drum for him. So for me, I'm going to go Kendre Miller. I don't love him either. I get where you're coming from. I don't like him that much either. But I am willing to play him in this scenario, knowing that Kamara's not playing. Right, Alvin Kamara is out, right? I'm just making 100% sure. Alvin Kamara is out. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I read that yesterday. So he's out. Kendre Miller should be able to get a healthy enough amount of touches to be fine. I don't think you're getting a week winning game out of him. I really don't. But I think he's going to be fine. Then I would probably just go Spears. I think Spears's outcomes I think his outcomes range heavily. I could see this game ending where he completely out-snaps, out-touches Pollard. I could see the complete opposite happening. I could see it being a 50-50 split. I like the spot for him. Again, I don't love him, but I would go Spears over those guys. So it would be Spears and Miller for me. Spears and Miller. XO, thank you for the super chat. Half PPR, start 2. Addison, Keenan Allen, Judy McMillan. I would go Addison, and I would go half PPR. You're kind of looking for the touchdown. Keenan Allen blew up last time against the Bears. Against the Lions. I would go Addison and Allen. Judy, I like Judy still. I'm not completely abandoning ship on Judy like I think a lot of people will. But I think without Jameis, Judy basically just got shot in the foot and he's hobbling around. And I think that's enough to kind of swing the pendulum more towards Judy, more towards Keenan Allen. If Jameis was under center, I would be talking up Jerry Jeudy heavily. I would be hyping up Jerry Jeudy. I would be talking about how I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be a stone cold smash, but I can't necessarily say those things now. I just can't, right? I cannot say those things now. So for me, it would be Addison and Keenan Allen. Joe, thank you for the super chat. Start 1, Downs, Tracy or Mooney or Abdullah or Downs. I would go, personally, I'm playing Tracy. Again, I get why some people don't like Tracy. I get that the offense sucks. But Tracy is going to just continue to be the lead back on the team. And he's going to continue to put up decent numbers. Solid numbers. Again, nothing to write home about. Nothing to scream about. Nothing to get super excited about, right? I agree. But also, good enough to be halfway competent, right? Good enough to feel fine, okay? You're not going to feel amazing. You're not going to be fucking jumping for joy. I don't think anyone would. But I do think that based on his upside, based on his skill set, I would have to lean with Tracy. And Tracy. It would be Tracy. And if you didn't want to play Tracy, it would be Abdullah. Steven, thank you for the super chat. Patrick Taylor, Kendre Miller, or Ramondre Stevenson? Great question. I would go with Patrick Taylor. I don't trust Ramondre Stevenson. I like Ramondre Stevenson. I think Ramondre Stevenson's a good player, but his outcomes they range heavily. He could be in a great matchup, shit the bed. Be in a terrible matchup, score 30 fantasy points, right? There's no rhyme or reason to it, and that really concerns me. So I would personally go with Patrick Taylor, who I believe is going to have a safe workload, a safe amount of touches on a week-in, week-out basis without the other running backs. So I would go Patrick Taylor up against a bad Dolphins run defense. I shine. Thank you again. 12-team half PPR. Start Tracy or Kendre Miller. Again, I'm going Tracy. I would go Tracy. Why? Just because I think that Tracy's a better player than Kendre Miller, and I don't trust the Saints offense enough for me to bang the drum for Miller over Tracy. Now again, Nick, both of those offenses suck. I get it, but I trust Drew Lock more than I trust Spencer Rattler. And I also don't know if Kendre Miller is going to be getting 8 gazillion checkdowns. Now, if Derek Carr was under center, you would better believe Kendre Miller was going to smash. But without Derek Carr, I don't trust it enough for me to truly get on the bandwagon here for Kendre Miller. So personally, I would go ahead and play Tracy. And then Darnold or Kyler, Ford or Stevenson, Janu, Jennings, or other running back above in the flex, full PPR. Darnold or Kyler, Ford or Stevenson, Janu, Jennings, or any other running back for the flex. Okay, so I would go with Ford over Stevenson. I think the team is going to look to really run the ball a ton with Jerome Ford. I think they're going to try not to have to throw a million times with DTR, and that is going to lead to Ford having a solid game. So for me, I would be going with Ford, Darnold, or Kyler. I'm going Darnold. If you are personally scared of the rain, if the rain's going to play a large factor, like if you're going to turn the game on, you see it's rainy, and that's going to throw you off. If you're incredibly nervous about the rain, then I would go Kyler. If the rain doesn't concern you as much, I would go Darnold. My personal lean would be to go Darnold. So we're going to go Darnold. We're going to go Jerome Ford F-150. And then at flex, for me, it would be Janu. Janu has just played so well as of recently that I think the smart move would be to play Janu. So we're going to go Janu over Jennings and any of the other players in the flex. So it's going to be Darnold, it's going to be Ford, and it is going to be Janu Smith. Next question from Pedro. Thank you for the super chat, the super sticker. I appreciate you. Did you leave a question, Pedro? I'm trying to find it. Does anyone see Pedro's question? Pedro, do you have a question? Or did you just super chat to be nice, which I also appreciate. I skipped your super chat, KE Taker? I don't think so. Did I? No, your super chat is still coming down. But Pedro, if you have a question, just leave it in chat because I don't see it. Average Hood Rat, Njoku or Strange? Strange. Strange over Njoku because, again, the quarterback situation doesn't give me much confidence at all. I have pretty low confidence in the quarterback situation. I think Njoku is going to be fine because he's Njoku, right? And he'll garner some targets and he could score a touchdown. But I'd probably try to stay away from him this week in most scenarios. So yeah, I would go Strange. Rashad, Strange, or McMillan. Thank you for the super chat. Rashad, Strange, or McMillan. I would go Rashad. Again, Bucky is the guy in Tampa. We all know that. Everyone knows that. But for me, it's definitely going to go ahead and be Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White sees enough volume, even with a split, and he sees enough red zone volume. He has a nose for the end zone. So personally, that is what's going to be the tiebreaker there for me. That would make me want to play Rashad. Tyreek Hill or McMillan. I'm playing Tyreek Hill. I like McMillan as much as the next guy. I even talked him up in the offseason when probably no one was talking about him. And I thought he was a great dart throw pick. Like if something was happening to Godwin, I thought the upside was high. Now I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's had a great season. That would be a lie. But he has really started to string things together recently. So gun to the head, while I do like McMillan, you're not sitting Tyreek Hill. You're just not. It's really that simple. You cannot sit Tyreek Hill. You are not going to be able to sleep for a week if you sit Tyreek Hill for Jalen McMillan and Tyreek Hill goes crazy. I know Tyreek Hill isn't guaranteed to go crazy, right? And I know his production last week definitely was disappointing, but I do think there are brighter days ahead. I think there are greener pastures on the other side of things. So personally, I would go ahead and play Tyreek Hill. Gustavo, should I stick with Judy? Other options are Pollard, Rachaad White, or McMillan. Have a great Sunday. Have a great Sunday as well to you. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, Gustavo. I really appreciate you. For me, I would go ahead and play. I would play Rachaad White. I earlier on in the week was a little bit more pessimistic, a little bit more, or optimistic, I guess would be the word. I was a little bit more optimistic when it came to Judy, whereas now I am way less optimistic. I dropped him down the rankings. I think Rachaad White's a real safe play. Again, he gets a lot of carries, he gets targets, and he likes the end zone. He finds the end zone a lot. So I would go with Rachaad White. Nick GT, thank you for the super chat. Pick one, Spears, Miller, or Tracy. I'm going Tracy. Again, Tracy is probably the least sexy pick out of those guys, right? Tracy just goes in, he plays, he's going to get you, should be able to get you 10 plus points, has the upside to get 20 plus. The offense kind of sucks, but he's a good player. It's not a sexy start. I don't think anyone is like ecstatic to play Tracy, but I'm way more excited to play Tracy over Spears or Miller. Pat fan, thank you for the super chat. Pat fan 0987. Tracy or London, PPR 7 points, touchdown, 10 points, rushing touchdown. Okay, that does change things slightly, but I'd still go London. Even if you get that slight boost for a rushing touchdown, Tracy is not guaranteed to score a touchdown by any means. So for me, it would be Tracy. Yeah, it would be Tracy. I mean, no, it would be London. That's what I meant to say. It would be London, even though technically the scoring settings do more point towards the scoring settings do point more towards playing a running back. I would play London. I just feel way more confident in London. Pollard or Spears, Addison or Moore, need upside. I'm going Pollard over Spears. And if you're looking for upside, I still lean with DJ Moore over Addison. So I'd go DJ Moore and I'd go Pollard because I still do believe Pollard is the starting running back, and that will have more upside than the backup running back. So I'd go Pollard and I would go DJ Moore. K.E. Taker, good morning. Half PPR, Brian Robinson Jr. or DeAndre Swift. Both have tough matchups. Crazy to think Swift has a better game. Also, Shakir, Thielen, or McMillan. Thank you. Hart, thank you as well. Hart, back to you. I don't think it's crazy to think that Swift outscores Brian Robinson. I have Brian Robinson ranked 20th, Swift 28th. I am not very high on Brian Robinson this week. I think this is a very tough matchup for him. Last time these two teams played, he was the running back 15, though, and he found the end zone. So while the matchup on paper might be a little bit rough, we have seen the Eagles defense get plowed by the run before. Chuba Hubbard, Brian Robinson played good against them last time. I would still lean Brian Robinson. And then Shakir, Thielen, or McMillan. That's a good question, too. I'm just going to go check my rankings. I think the answer is Shakir. I have Shakir 26, Thielen 27, and I have McMillan ranked 31. So they are close to each other. I'd go with Shakir. Again, Shakir gets a very safe blanket of targets every single week. And that really does make me like playing him a ton. So I would personally go with Shakir. So we're going to go Shakir, and we're going to go B-Rob. Rut Nips, Kyler or Jaden, happy holidays, brother. Thank you. No, thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you to everyone that's here today. It means the world to me. I love all you guys. Kyler or Jaden, happy holidays. Happy holidays to you as well. I have Jaden 7, Kyler 8. So that really is a toss-up. It's not super definitive, but that's what I would do. I would go Jaden Daniels over Kyler. Half PPR flex, and we're going to have to go quicker, just so you guys know. We're going to have to go quicker because we're almost out of time, and I want to give everyone an answer. Flex, Dowdle or A.J. Brown? Other questions in chat. Okay. So now I got to scroll up to find this question. I got to scroll up. Oh. I got to scroll up. Where's your other question? Twisted bulk. I don't see your other question. You can leave it in chat and I will answer right now. Oh, that makes sense, Kay. Flex, Dowdle or AJ Brown? Other question in chat. Dowdle or AJ Brown? It's got to be AJ Brown. It's got to be AJ Brown, and I love Rico Dowdle, but I feel way, 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 way better about AJ Brown. I don't think you'd sit AJ Brown. And leave your other question in chat. I'm gonna get to it. Blair Webb, thank you for the super chat. Need 2 full PPR, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, and Shakir. I'm going to go with Devontae Smith, and I am going to go with Devontae Smith and Jennings. I have Jennings 22, Devontae Smith 23. I have Shakir ranked 26, and I have Jeudy ranked 32. So it would be Devontae Smith and Jennings. I do think, again, when it comes to Shakir, he's incredibly safe. So if you're just straight up looking like, I want the safest bet, I do think that he is the safest bet. Like, I think Shakir is safer than Jennings. I think Shakir is going to definitely get you at least 12 points and have a halfway decent game. But my heart still leans the way of going ahead and playing Jennings. So I would go Jennings and Devontae Smith. Brett, good luck, Brian. I'll see you later, man. Brett McCoy, thank you for the super chat. PPR, running back 2, wide receiver 2, and flex. Taylor Jr., Ford, Miller, Thielen, Devontae Smith, Shakir, McMillan. I need a strong base with breakout upside. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. All right, Taylor, 100% at RB2. Ooh, you know what? I kind of like Ford better. I kind of like Ford better than Taylor. I'm not going to lie. Oh, that's tough. That is tough. Yeah, I'm going Ford over Taylor. So we're going to go Ford. We're going to go Shakir. Oh, no, Ford, Devontae Smith. And then we're going to go Patrick Taylor for the added upside. So we're going to go Ford, who I think is pretty safe. Devontae Smith, who I think is pretty safe. And then Patrick Taylor for that big boom upside. If you wanted a different upside play instead of Patrick Taylor, it would be Jalen McMillan. V. Cruz, thank you for the super chat. 1 running back, 1 flex, Hubbard, Dowdle, Tracy, Adams, Ridley, Swift. It's got to be Adams at the flex. You cannot sit Adams. You simply cannot. Adams is must start at this point. Do I truly believe he's going to continue on this path of fucking dominance, this path of greatness? No, I don't fully believe that, but I do think he's going to end up being good enough. So my lean would be to go ahead and play Hubbard and Adams. You got to play Adams and you got to play Hubbard. If you don't want to play Hubbard, it would be Dowdle and Adams. That would be the answer. Hey boss, Jaden Reed or Khalil Shakir in full PPR. Thanks, brother. No problem, Jackson. Appreciate the super chat. I would go with Khalil Shakir. I like Jaden Reed. I love Jaden Reed. I think he's a really good player, but I think at this point in the season, we kind of just have to wave the white flag and sit him, especially for a guy like Shakir. Trojan, thank you for the super chat. A Rich or Penix? I assumed it's been asked. Yeah, I don't know if it's been asked, honestly. But I would go Anthony Richardson. Again, it's Penix's first game. Penix could go out there and blow up. Penix could go out there and absolutely shit the bed. It is a very dicey scenario when you're dealing with a guy in his first ever game. I do think Anthony Richardson's incredibly talented. And I think Penix is talented too. I don't really trust either guy, but I would lean with Anthony Richardson personally. I would lean with Anthony Richardson. Other question, Love or Anthony Richardson? Love normally, but the weather and lack of pass volume lately makes me pause. Thanks, no problem. I would go Love. I feel pretty safe with Love. I think Love's going to be fine. I haven't seen anything that says the weather is going to be too bad to where it would really impact him. So I just trust Love a lot more, so I would go Love. God of Money, thank you for the super chat. Please help Swift or Calvin Ridley at the flex. I still need to look for Pedro's question. Pedro. I'm looking, though. Don't worry, bro. If you drop your question in chat, I will get to it. I'll try to find it. Please help Swift or Calvin Ridley. I'm going Calvin Ridley. I think if you want to be safe, if you're like, Ridley might not get me 10 points, I think Swift will. So if that's going to be like your point of interest there is, do I need a guy that's going to give me 10 points? Yes, I would go Swift if you want 10 points. But the upside is with Ridley. I love Ridley this week, even though he's probably going to let me down. So I'd go Ridley. Justin, Stranger Hawk, Adunze, or Reed, thank you again. No problem. I would go with, I'm still going Hawkinson over Strange. Again, I don't love Hawkinson this week, but Hawkinson is one of the better tight ends in the NFL, and I do have a decent amount of trust for him. And then Adunze or Reed, I would probably go Adunze. It's tough because I don't like either guy, but Reed really could score 2 fantasy points, and Adunze is not going to do that. I think they both have similar upside, so I would just go with Adunze. Official Hone ZT Abe, thank you for the super chat. Pollard is playing, so pick 2, Ford, Pollard, Tajay, Patrick Taylor. I would go Patrick Taylor and Ford and just kind of avoid the Pollard situation. Again, I think Pollard's going to be fine. I think he's the lead back on the team, so I'm not going to just say, oh, you got to sit Pollard. But in a scenario where you have Ford up against a shitty defense, and they're going to want to run the ball, and you have Patrick Taylor on going up against a shitty defense, I would go ahead and play Patrick Taylor, and I would play Jerome Ford. No, I don't think A.J. Brown's going to get locked up. Yeah, I would definitely go Ford and Patrick Taylor. I feel most confident in that. Scorpion, thank you for the super chat. Shakir, Terry McLaurin for quarterback, Darnold or Love. I'm going Darnold, but if the rain really scares you, play Love. And I have Terry ranked ahead of Shakir, but Shakir is way safer. So think about it this way. Shakir, there's no weather. There's nothing that's going to mess him up. He's going to be safe. Terry could get completely locked up, but Terry has also dominated multiple games in a row. For me, I think I would have to start Terry, but if you wanted to play Shakir, go ahead. I would play Terry and I would play Darnold. That's what I would do. I would play McLaurin and Darnold. And Pedro, did you drop your question in chat? I've been looking for it. I've been looking for the big P. Pause. I'm trying to find it. This is the one thing that is annoying about the app that I use. It's very hard to find a question. Very hard to find a question. Fuck, I don't know where it is. Pedro, please drop your question if you asked it. Or you might have just been giving me a super sticker to be nice. I don't know. Charbonnet or Miller? I would go Miller. Good morning. Need a flex. Full PPR. I would go BRJ. McMillan or any of the following? Over any of the following? No, that's correct. DeAndre Swift or Jerome Ford? Jerome Ford. JSN, Cup, Higgins, Irving. Pick 1. It'd be Cup. Wait, it might not be Cup. It might not be Cup. Let me check. Cup, Higgins, Irving. Oh, man. I think it's going to be Bucky. It'd be Bucky for me. JT or Brees? Drake or Reek? JT or Brees? I would go JT. Drake or Reek? Drake. Minnesota or Atlanta? Swift or Ford? Citrus Blade, Higgins, JSN, BTJ, Neighbors, DJ Moore, pick 3. Great question. For me, it's going to be the first 3. Why is that? Why is the first 3? Because I trust those guys the most. Higgins, when healthy, is really good. Higgins, when healthy, is great. They've got a good matchup. I would go with Higgins. JSN has been hot. He's played well. And he's on an offense that is going to have to throw the ball. So I like him. And then BTJ, because BTJ has been on fire. BTJ has been playing extraordinarily well. I don't think those are like no-brainers, though, top 3. Like, I think there's an argument to be made for Neighbors over maybe Higgins or even DJ Moore. But personally, I would play the guys you got. Yeah, I would go with Higgins, JSN, and BTJ. I think that's the smartest bet there. Oh my God, there's more super chats. Eric, hey, good afternoon. Start 1, flex 1, bench 1, rest. Start 1, flex 1. Okay. Bench the rest. Okay. B-Rob, Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor, Jacoby Myers. I am starting Jonathan Taylor and Jacoby Myers. I think that's the smartest move. The reason why is because Kenneth Walker might have gotten his job stolen. I don't love B-Rob's matchup. I feel better about Jonathan Taylor, and I really like Jacoby Myers. MTD, Neighbors or Kyron. I would personally go Kyron. Kyron hasn't necessarily been the best this season. He has had some ups and downs, but he does get a very solid base of carries weekly, and the offense should be able to turn it around. So I would go Neighbors. I would go Kyron over Neighbors. Full PPR flex, Janu, J-Mo, Pollard, or Downs. I would go with, personally, I'm playing Janu. Jaden Daniels or Matthew Stafford, Daniels, Smith, Pollard, or Smith, Hill, or McLaurin. I would go Hill. Darnold could struggle. That is true. He could struggle with the noise. Thanks, Spock. Have a good day. Just for the little station, rate my starting team. Murray, A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, Gibbs, A-Chain, Brenton Strange, James Conner, Packers, Boswell. I like your team a lot. I give that a nice. Let's go A-. Start 2 in standard. Cooper Kupp versus the Jets, Garrett Wilson versus the Rams. And which tight end? I would go with Cooper Kupp and Garrett Wilson. Richard or Ryland, the kicker. I would go ahead. I'm just going to pull up my rankings really quick. Richard or Ryland. I would go Richard. Will Richard. And then Raymond Lopez. Thank you for the super chat. JSN, London, Terry, Jennings, start 2, sit 2. I'm starting JSN in London. That's the answer. I think I got your question in time. I hope you were able to get the answer in there. So it would be Richard, and it would be JSN in London. Ertz or Henry? I would go Henry. Good luck to everyone. You're the man. I'm in it to win it. Need to sit 1. Chase, London, Neighbors, BTJ. I'm setting Neighbors. So thank you guys for coming out today. I really appreciate you guys watching the stream. All right, so I hope you guys all have a good one. I will see you guys later. Let's go. Have a good weekend. You too. Do you like Addison or Jennings this week? I would prefer Jennings. Have a good week. Yeah, I think I have Jennings over Addison. Let me check. You have Jennings 22, Addison 25. Good luck to everyone. Good luck. Hope you guys all have a great one. Thank you guys for watching the stream. We'll be back next week. Hope you guys have great holidays. Merry Christmas. Whatever holidays you guys celebrate. I really appreciate you guys. Love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Spock, for answering everyone's questions in chat. I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a good day. I got to get off. I'm working. So love you guys. Baker, Kyler. I would go Baker. Hope you guys have a good one. And I'll see you guys on the Flippity Flop. See you, Caitlin. Thank you to everyone who super chatted. I really appreciate you all. I love you guys. Bye-bye.